Hello, everyone. My name is Phil Champagne, the author of the Book of Satoshi and Bitcoin vs. Altcoin. Today, I want to talk about a subject regarding the elasticity of money. So the idea for this video came up when I saw a conversation on a stage between Mike Maloney of goldsilver.com and George Gammon. And the subject was, Mike Maloney was saying that he is for sound money across the board, morally gold in this perspective. And George Gammon was arguing with him that, he believes that fiat currency in a commercial sector is fine. It's just the government should not be in fiat currency. So basically, it thinks that because the negative side effect of using a fractional reserve banking could be compensated with the fact that, now the businesses will grow by borrowing through fractional reserve banking from the commercial bank, and therefore there'll be more production. The perspective for him is like overall there won't be that much inflation because overall there'll be growth of the commercial businesses and so on. But, it mixes a lot of perspective on this. One of them is probably, like we've seen so many times, there'll be non-commercial purpose loans that will be for someone who says, I don't want a house now, I want a car now, instead of saving for it. Because the principle is in an environment where this will be a Bitcoin standard, for example, there will be no fractional reserve banking. Then loans will go for strictly for mostly, at 99% will be done for an environment where people say, well, it makes sense. If I pay 5% interest rate on my Bitcoin, and Bitcoin always take value because of deflation, so I better have a perspective that I'm going to make 15 or 20% return using this loan I'm going to make with my business so I can pay back those loans and keep a profit for it. Otherwise, if it's 10% and I have to pay 10% interest, it doesn't make sense because, it's gif, unless you really see positive in the future. But the part that he missed, and George Gammon missed, is that you would have inflation because all is fine and peachy as long as there's no bankruptcy. At the moment that some commercial loans are done, where, it's always happening, a business will actually try to expand and it will go out of business and won't be able to repay the loan. What happened then when the loan is not repaid? When the loan is not repaid, that currency stays. So therefore you end up with more and more loans. There's obviously a side effect of all that. But, if you have a commercial note banking sector, that's the only thing. Think about a CBDC, but instead of a central bank, it's just the commercial banks that are taking care of this. You'll have a long-term slight inflation because of all those bankruptcies. But the point is, the purpose of imagining that there won't be anything commercial purpose going fractional reserve banking is wrong in the first place. Because what will happen is that people will have an incentive at some point to actually, I'm willing to take the risk of lending my Bitcoin or my gold coins to a bank who's in charge, is going to take care of lending it to commercial company. And then, therefore, not only am benefiting from the deflationary aspect of, a Bitcoin, for example, but on top of that, I'm going to make 2 or 3 or 4% or 5%. In fact, the interest rate will be as high as necessary to match for the demand. If really the demand is there for more prices to take loans, the more demand, the more higher interest rate will come, and which will attract more savers eventually, it's really can make 10% of my Bitcoin. And that'll be actually a wonderful world. And not everyone not everyone will be willing to take that risk because now they have to trust that bank, and that bank has to be careful not to over too much over the loans. But you really have a free market there that will be happening without fractional reserve banking. The higher interest rates will attract. That means it's only if the interest rate have to be 20% for people to have enough money that comes in, that is for a number of Bitcoin provided to make those loans that is required by the commercial sector, by enterprises, then there will be definitely incentive for those commerce to really be making a 25-30% on their growth. Otherwise, they better just do like everybody else, accumulate their Bitcoin, and then use part of that to refinance themselves, and the rest you could take a loan, so at least it's not the full amount that they take as a loan. The overall perspective is that we're so far from the free market that it is distorted even the people that are somewhat fiscal conservative, like Gammon, to imagine that they actually need still this fractional reserve banking, which is a fraud. It was considered fraud in the 14th century or 15th century when people realized that if they were trying to get their coins from the bank, they lended more with banknotes than they actually had gold coins. And that for so many centuries we've been going with this that now it's like, well, this is how things works, and I can't imagine any other world where it was not happening. You think about how the Babylon in 200, 500 BC, that was the norm. People would be using gold coins and they'll be lending that, and it'll be, now you can imagine how in a Bitcoin world with a fixed amount of Bitcoin, how could someone pay back if he takes $10 million or $1 million loan in Bitcoin, equivalent of $1 million today, $10 million for expanding his business. And he has to pay it back with interest, and it'll be $11 million in a year or two, whatever that is. And now that means they need to extract more Bitcoin, but there's still the same amount of Bitcoin, available. So therefore, the expansion of their business really need to be worth it so that they'll be making more money, more Bitcoin to be able to pay back. And that's just plain truth. Anyway, next time I'll be talking about another subject that comes to mind when I see those things. All right, take care.